The famous world classic, The Feminine Mystique by Betty Friedan, published on February 19, 1963, was the #1 contributor to the second wave of feminism. In the 1950s, the housewife role was romanticized by many. The male-dominated media made it seem as though all women wanted to stay a housewife forever. During the time of the Feminine Mystique's publication, it was believed that real feminine women should not have wanted to work, get an education, or have political opinions. Friedman says, the key to this trap is, of course, education. The Feminine Mystique has made higher education for women seem suspect, unnecessary, and even dangerous. But I think that education, and only education, has saved and can continue to save American women from the greater dangers of the feminine mystique. This trap deters more women from getting an education and provides little to no support to women who want one. Friedan was not fulfilled by the housewife and motherhood role. She wanted more in life, and she was not alone. A quote from the Feminine Mystique. Each suburban wife struggles with it alone. As she made the beds, shopped for groceries, matched slipcover material, ate peanut butter sandwiches with her children, chauffeured Cub Scouts and brownies, lay bedside her husband at night, she was afraid to ask, even of herself, the silent question, is this all? Longing for more, these housewives wanted to do something else with their lives. Betty Friedan's words brought light to the other side of women's opinions. She conducted a survey of her old college classmates. Betty Friedan provided a 38-question questionnaire, and the results showed that Betty was not the only woman feeling entrapped by her housewife role. The results of this survey sparked Betty's initiative to write The Feminine Mystique. From the time they were little girls, these women had to devote their lives to finding a husband and bearing children, all while following the feminine mystique. This feeling of entrapment was referred to by Friedman as the problem that has no name. A mystique is a fascinating aura of mystery, awe, and power surrounding someone or something. The feminine mystique was the societal assumption that women could find this fascinating awe and fulfillment through housework, marriage, sexual passivity, and children only. As mentioned before, Betty Friedan single-handedly pushed for the second wave of feminism. Betty provided a voice for women who were unhappy with their living situation but needed a push to gain the courage to come forward and make a change. The publication of The Feminine Mystique led to the Equal Pay Act of 1963. With enough supporters of women's rights after the publication of the novel, the act was passed to prohibit sex-based wage discrimination between men and women in the same establishment who perform jobs that require substantially equal skill, effort, and responsibility under similar working conditions. In 1966, Betty Friedan co-founded the National Organization for Women. Now, she became the first president of the organization. Not only did she use words to encourage the women's movement, she used actions as well. The National Organization for Women demanded removal of all barriers to equality for women. They would not take no for an answer. This heightened sense of feminism created by the Feminine Mystique also inspired the famous song You Don't Own Me by Leslie Gore. It is referred to as the feminist anthem. Not all women during the time were supporters of the feminist idea. Women who were more conservative and more traditional were offended by Betty's words. The major question: does the feminine mystique stand the test of time? Yes and no. This work still inspires women to this day and will forever have impacted the women's rights movement. However, more recently, the book has drawn a lot of much-deserved controversy. The Feminine Mystique is criticized as racist and classist. In 1984, Bell Hooks, a black feminist, introduced From Margin to Center, her own book. She believed Friedan only focused on a problem that entailed upper and middle class white mothers and wives. Betty focused on women who had husbands, education, and time, not women who had no husband, no children, or no home to care for. It seems as if Friedan simply dismissed all other problems she couldn't personally relate to. Others criticized that Betty founded her story on lies. Daniel Horowitz exposed that she was not just a quaint housewife. She was actually a radical leftist involved in politics for years. People believe if she started her novel based on lies, what else is a lie? Further critiqued, the Feminine Mystique is found to be directly homophobic. Rachel Bobley wrote, "Still crazy after all these years," explaining her theory on homophobia in Friedan's writing. The phrase lavender menace was coined by Betty Friedan. Lavender menace meant the threat that lesbian feminists posed to the feminist movement. This excluded lesbians from the movement as a whole. The Lavender Menace ended up becoming an informal group of radical feminists. They formed a group to protest the exclusion of lesbian issues and lesbians from the feminist movement. She also makes references to male homosexuality spreading like murky smog in her writing, implying that homosexuality has a negative connotation. Despite the harsh controversy surrounding the Feminine Mystique, it is still a fact that the book inspired women all over the world to step up and make a change. The impact made by the book didn't just affect those who read it in 1963 when it was first published. It affects women who read it now to strive for greater opportunities for the women today. Even though intense advances have been made since the 50s, the inspiration provided by Betty Friedan will continue to make an impact on women's rights moving forward.